Decrying the silence of the state government over the long-standing demand for ST status for Meiteis, the Scheduled Tribe Demand Committee Manipur or STDCM are staging a sit-in protest at Keishampat in Imphal. Protests have resumed today after being suspended due to COVID pandemic and elections. Holding up placards like "No ST status, no rail line," the protesters are continuing with their long-standing demand for inclusion of indigenous Meiteis in the ST list. So big story at this point in time, viewers from Manipur decrying the silence of the state government over the long-standing demand for ST status for Meiteis. The Scheduled Tribe Demand Committee Manipur or STDCM are staging a sit-in protest at Keishampat in Imphal. Protests have resumed today after being suspended due to the COVID pandemic and elections. Holding up placards like "No ST status, no rail line," the protesters are continuing with their long-standing demand for inclusion of indigenous Meiteis in the ST list. All right, my colleague Donald joins us live from the spot where the protest is right now underway. Well, Donald, as the Manipur Meiteis demand ST status and right now the protest is underway, so give us more details regarding the sit-in protest at Keishampat.
Yes, Pooja. Scheduled Tribe Demand Committee of Manipur, along with those organizations which support the demand for inclusion of Meitei in the ST list of India, they together are staging sit-in protest at Keishampat in Imphal. The protests were suspended temporarily owing to COVID and the elections, but they resume from today onwards. Of course, they are taking up now democratic forms of agitations like sit-in protests. So the committee, along with the supporter organizations, are staging sit-in protests now at Keishampat. And of course, as we can see, most of the protesters here, they are mostly the elders, and some of the youths and students are also seen among the protesters. And if we go through the placards they are holding, we can see that, like, if the ST status is not granted to the Meiteis, if the Meitei community is not included in the ST list, they are threatening that even the rail line which is started to reach Manipur will be boycotted. Like, they are threatening some intense forms of agitations right now. So we will now talk to the working president of STDCM, Mr. Laisram Lokendra, and ask him about this protest as well as the future course of agitations. Yeah. So you please highlight about this protest.
See, the people of Manipur, headed by this Scheduled Tribe Demand Committee, has been demanding for inclusion of the Meiteis into the Scheduled Tribe list of the country. Now, this demand has been going on, the people's movement has been going on for the last almost 10 years now. The committee is headed by most of us as senior citizens who are concerned with the well-being of the coming generation. How they would survive in this land is our concern. For as far as we're concerned, it is a question of survival of the Meitei community as such in the coming near future in the ancestral land of Manipur. That's the main point. Will we survive or not in this land of Manipur, our ancestral land of Manipur? That is the main concern with this movement. And the other aspects of reservation, etc., those are all secondary. I'll repeat that again. Our most concern is the survival of the Meitei community in their ancestral land called Manipur in the near future. That is our demand. We have been asking for this demand with the government of Manipur for the last 10 years. And the government keeps dithering to do it or not do it. At times they say, we are interested, we'll look into it. But 10 years have passed almost, and they have not taken up anything on this issue. Now, we as senior citizens, concerned with the law of the land, we have been going into a democratic movement, and today our movement is a part of the democratic movement. We urge the government to respect this democratic approach We are going to start with this sit-in protests at places, various places will start, and then we will continue the protest by maybe having a short, rallies, small rallies, then the small timing of an hour or a half an hour shutdown of the markets at places. That's a very democratic movement. If the government still does not take up anything on that issue, then we may be forced, against our desire of continuing a democratic process, we may be forced to take on to violent means. Maybe we'll have to shut down, we'll have to carry out bans, maybe blockades, and then total shutdown of the area. And where required, the rail project which has been going on, if we are looking for the rail project, since it is coming through the indigenous land of the Meiteis, we may have to resort to block the rail progress going on in Manipur and entering into Imphal and going ahead towards northeast with Morris side. So our idea is that we are concerned with the identity and the protection of the land, the ancestral land of the Meiteis as such. We are barely about 12 lakhs as compared to the India's 130 crores. And how is this 12 lakh of people confined in an area of less than 2,000 square kilometers going to survive is the main issue. And if our interest is that we, Meiteis, as the undisputed indigenous people of this state of Manipur, we would like to live, or we want our children to continue to live, and that they should have a place to live in this ancestral land, which means we want this land to be protected, and the only option in the constitution is that Meiteis should be included in the scheduled tribe list. Thereby, the land becomes the scheduled area, and we get the protection, constitutional protection of the constitutional protection. And with that, once the schedule, the land where the Meiteis are settled is protected, and then Manipur as a whole would be a scheduled area, and we will have the equal protection that is being given in the hills, in the valley, in the entire Manipur state. So
some feel that enforcement of ILP is enough to safeguard the indigenous people. So what is your take on that?
Inner line permit system, as the name suggests, it is only a permit to entry and exit of the land. And that does not give the provision given by the Constitution under Article 19, Clause 5, wherein it says that the provision of Article 1, Clause 19, Article 19, Clause 1D and E, where anybody can enter any place in India and where they can settle in any place of India, that is negated by Clause 5, which says where there is a restriction with respect to scheduled tribes, then only there is the complete protection to it. Whereas ILP is only, as the name suggests, it's only a permission for going in and going out as far as the Constitution is concerned. But it does not directly or protect the land as given out to the scheduled area as per the Constitution. So we want that as it is, as per the government records. See, I will get back to the records for the consumption of everyone here, that as per the 1891 census, Government of India census then, Meiteis were included in the census as forest tribe. Then in the next census of 1901, Meiteis were declared as the main tribe of Manipur. And in that main census of 1931, which is taken as the a big census, wherein the castes and tribes were separated. And as per that, the Meiteis have been recorded as, and that official record, as wholly Hindu tribe, but retaining their distinctive language and culture, which means as per that census report, we should have been included in the ST list, which was formed in 1950 after the Manipur was merged with India. However, for some reason, we were left out. So our demand is that what was left out then, that it may be included now. We're not asking to convert or something. We are a tribe We have not been enlisted into this ST list, and we want that it should be enlisted into it. What was left out in 1950, it may please be done now. That is our demand.